It's your boy Fabo.
What's my name?
Kirby.
That's right.
Man.
How you doing? Just real quick, pod. All our potties out there. So, man, we're coming live on this Thanksgiving Day.
Yeah.
Man, what are you thankful for?
Man, you know what, bro? I'm going to just say this real quick.
Okay.
So on the way up here, I was watching a video that my niece, I have a niece, her name is Isabel. Right.
Oh, okay.
And man, she shout out to the ladies out at the Dream Center that have the new legacy home for women.
Uh-huh.
My niece is a graduate from that home. She was struggling with addiction and all kinds of things were going on in her life. Well, anyway, her video today, she was just like, hey guys, I was just thinking about, tomorrow we're going out of town to go visit family and all these different things. It's a video that she made yesterday, actually. And so I was watching it today, and she says, man, I'm so grateful. I'm so thankful that I'm sober. I'm so grateful and thankful that my life is on track and I have a loving husband, and that God has been so good to me that there's all these changes that I have and I am and will experience. And so she was just like, I cannot tell y'all with enough words that the thankfulness that's in my heart that I get to go out of town and I don't have restrictions on me, and God's restoring things to me and all these different things. And so I'm extremely grateful that I saw that. I'm thankful that God is a faithful God. I'm thankful that he finishes everything he starts, that he is loving even when I don't deserve, to be loved, that his love is pursuing me. His love is available for me. His love knows the truth about me but doesn't judge me. My niece said something. She was like, thank you to everybody out there who loved me and stayed with me when I wasn't worth staying with. Like, man, that made me think about God. And so I was just like, wow, he loves me enough to put good people in my life, to be my provider, my healer, my security. Like, guys, we could just go on and on and on, but like, man, ultimately, like, how good God is to me is the only thing I can think of in regards to a question like that. And I love that he's bringing my family back to him. Yeah. So good. Man, what about you, Kerr? What you got? What you got?
I didn't realize how thankful I am for a lot of things. I had a conversation the other night with a good friend, a good buddy. And man, just brought a lot of clarity. Like, I think the one thing he said, how you say it? You were there. He said, is that all the devil's poking you with? Yeah. Like, bro, you're good. Like, God's favored you. Like, the thing, like the things that he made clear, right? Man, I'm definitely thankful for the opportunity to wake up. Yeah. It's the little things. It's little things. Heard a great teaching, man. Or a story in a great teaching, that story, but I don't know what the word is. Pastor Javi, when he was telling us about the Yahweh, remember? Yeah. How the word Yahweh is
like you're breathing it in.
The way.
Yeah, right? The Yah is the breath, is the inhale. The way is the exhale. Yeah, right.
And when he put it that way, then start to realize, man, I got to be thankful for just that small thing right there, because it's not a small thing. That ultimately is the thing. And I'm thankful I'm thankful for where I'm at in life, right? I really feel like it's building character within myself. I had a rough week last week, bro. Did you? I have a lot of rough weeks. I hate to come on here and seem like I'm just complaining all the time, because we talked about that.
But bro, this is real life though, man.
It is, man.
Like how many of our brothers and sisters out there are like, week in and week out, they're going through it. And so the encouragement that we get from the word of the Lord, like, it is meant to help us face, to persevere, right? To have resilience and to persevere, to press through and have the strength, the character and the hope according to the word of God. So I'll just say, I love your vulnerability with us, man, because like there's a lot of people who are like, man, it's hard for them to hear from somebody who feels like that they think, man, that person always feels like they got it, like going on, they got it figured out, all that stuff. We don't. But in the transparency, bro,
the transparency,
like, we're going through it.
We're human. We're human. It's just we choose to to follow him and follow his teachings, right? To give us the comfort, to give us the peace, you know what I'm saying? Because that's one thing that I know I was lacking on, is just truly not understanding how thankful, or I'm sorry, truly not understanding how gracious he is to give me the things he's given me. You know what I'm saying? Like, man, failure was loud in my head all last week. This week,
bro.
Failure, right? You're a failure. And I'm just like, screw you, devil.
Yeah.
Excuse my language from my Christians out there. Screw you, devil.
Get behind. You know what? That's funny is that's the get behind me, Satan.
It is.
Yeah.
It's
interesting, man. But I think I love that you're sitting here in your vulnerability and transparency, giving other people permission to be vulnerable and transparent as well. Man. Because the heart for each and every one of us is to know that this God that we're talking about, right? The God that we're talking about, the little happy feet in the background.
Okay. Hold that thought. Hold that thought. Okay. This is somebody else I'm very, very thankful for. My little mini me. They say he looks like me. I don't know what they're talking about, but he happens to be with that, and he's like just running. Like, dude, running.
If you guys can hear the little happy feet in the background.
You almost saw the head go across the camera, because I'm like, oh, don't do it. He just wants to get his football. Get your football.
Get your football, sir.
Don't throw it around the camera. Don't throw it. Love you. I'm very thankful for that young man.
Yeah.
Right. You know, the way he looks at me is the way my other child Avery, you know, used to look at me like, dude looked at me like I was Superman. Yeah. And life beating me up and all these other things that were happening. I felt like he didn't look at me. He don't look at me that way anymore, right? Yeah. He's 16, about to be 17 in a month, and knows everything. I'm like, you don't know everything, son. But to honor that man, like the way he always wants to be around me, this dude, you know what I'm saying? And I crave that, and that was a part of my failure, right? That I felt was failure, but it wasn't, man. It's just life. It's a great thing, because I know I'm getting older, and if I'm getting older, that means he's continuing to bless me with more life. Amen. He's continuing to bless me with more life. He's continuing to show me these things were wrong in the past, or you could fix this with, you know, with your little guy here, right? Yeah. So I take it as a lesson, right? Yeah. Did it teach me something? Absolutely. But you know, even with how loudness of that failure that was just in my ear, I'm not going to accept it, right? Because I'm not going to accept it, because that's not what he would tell me, and it's not what he's been telling me. He's been telling me, you know, keep moving, keep going. Right? You're blessed, man. You're blessed beyond what anybody else. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine, bro. But think about it like this, though, because, you know, since you talk about that right there, how many of us absolutely will let the blessings of our life become such a casual thing, right? A heart of gratitude, it can only be experienced when we're literally sitting here and we're in agreement that what God is doing, right? There's fruit already that I'm experiencing, but there's fruit and there's harvest to come in the future. And so, like, when we think about this, man, like, we're not supposed to let ourselves become so used to the blessings that they're just like a casual thing. Yeah. You know, it's like you're saying, like, I'm grateful for the little things. Like, it's funny because you have to remind yourself to pay attention to the little things, because the little things are usually supernatural. Like, they're just a natural thing that happens. They're just something that we find comfort in. And so the idea for us in looking at these things is that, you know what, I need to pay attention to this the way that God would have me pay attention to it. You know, because it's not just the little things in regards to, you know, like, I need to sound super spiritual when I talk about it. It's the little things. I'm like, you know what, God, my finances, they're not in order right now, but you know what? I still have a home. Amen. I still have food. Right, my dogs can still eat. You know, we're healthy.
Can I add to something real quick? You know, I started to think back, and I went from a very modest home before getting married, and I guess God knew a family was coming for me, or coming to me. That He blessed me with a much bigger home, and I started to think, I'm like, the home, the house itself doesn't. I mean, yes, thank you. But the roof is the blessing. The square footage is the favor, right? And when I started to view it that way, I'm like, man, we're blessed beyond what we expect, or what we know, or what we feel like we deserve. Yeah.
Man, let's talk about that just real quick though, right? Because there's pressure, right? I want us to think about it from this standpoint. We have to be in an attitude of gratitude, so that we're always reminding ourselves of the blessings that God has for us.
Yeah.
Because oftentimes blessing comes with continued work or continued pressure, right? And so when we think about it like this, right? There's a lot of brothers and sisters out there who are like, man, I just need I need a bigger home, right? You get the bigger home, you usually have your insurance goes up, your utilities goes up, right? Your mortgage goes up or your rent goes up, you know, and so you have to think about those things as that with blessing, there also comes increase. And sometimes we lose sight of the blessing because the increase creates pressure on us. And I want us to think about it from that standpoint. It's like, okay, I've been asking the Lord for certain things, and he is responding and he is blessing me. So my awareness of the responsibility tied to the blessing also increases. And so kind of going back to your house, I remember, man, when you were like, man, bro, guess what? I got an opportunity, man. This is amazing, right? And then
I was even tripping out like for real?
yeah. But then you go, but bro, like this house has this many rooms, this many bathrooms. It's a lot bigger than where I was. Like I love it, you know, but I actually don't have, like I have more room than I need.
Yeah.
What's wonderful is you just pointed out, like the Lord knew your wife was coming. The Lord knew that she had children that were coming with her as well. And so that house literally is perfect for the family size that you currently have. And so it's funny to think about, like, man, the pressure to pay the bills and to provide, and now all the mouths to feed and all these different things. But the Lord already knew that it was coming, so he had already established something for you. And now you have to remind yourself, like, man, look at what God did and gave me this house. How many of us do that? Man, God gave me this house, or God gave me that job that I'm frustrated about going to, or God gave me these children that, like, I have to find a way to provide for, or God, you know, and you can just keep going through the list. God gave me the car, God, you know, and this is what's really interesting is the heart of gratitude will shift the way that you respond to things. For instance, I don't know if you remember a while back, I was like, dang, bro, I made all this money and now I need a new something for my car. Right. And so I'm upset because it was like, you know, for anybody who knows that you've been watching, your boy's investing in the crypto. So I was like, but
we're going to be millionaires one day.
Yeah, we're going to be millionaires. We're claiming it. Let's do it,
I
Jesus.
speak French now.
No, but I'm saying, like, do you think about it as like I was sitting here rubbing my hands together. I was like, man, my investment portfolio is fixing to go up, this and that. I just paid off my car, blah, 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 all these different things. Well, what ends up happening is when that increase of money came in, my car broke down, and I was like, man, I wanted to do this, but man, you know what? Thank you, God. You sent me that job at just the right time because you knew that my car was going to break down. And so the provision that I was going to need was already coming. And what's really funny is I just want to give y'all the little breakdown. So in a matter of like 3 months, right? I get a roommate, and I was like, woo, extra money. I pay off my car, and I'm like, yeah, buddy, saving $350 on that bad boy. And then there was jobs coming in, so I'm thinking like increase all over. Well, with my roommate there, my AC breaks down, right? The motor of my AC goes out. And my roomie's rent money goes to fix the AC, right? I needed a new laptop, and my roomie's rent money went to help me buy the new laptop. And then I get that job, and my car breaks down, and then all of a sudden, the money I need to fix my car is from the job. So I had planned something, but gratitude in my heart, what had happened, instead of being like, dang it, man, I should have been able to do something else with this excess money. The gratitude was like, man, you know what, God, thank you so much that you saw the need for my provision.
He was already working things out. You were already
working things out. And because I recognize that, instead of saying like, man, why is all this stuff happening to me?
Why?
It's like, you know what, God, thank you so much that I had the provision to handle the laptop, the AC, and my car. Like, he had all three things already lined up for me. And so I say that for this reason. How many of us are upset because we're looking at it incorrectly?
Yeah. What lens
the
are you
heart
looking
of
at it from?
gratitude, bro, will give you an opportunity to make different statements, different proclamations over your life, right? To make a declaration that's like, you know what? God is a provider because he gave before I needed it. And so, you know, bro, I think about that with your house, man. Like, I remember going to see your house and I'm like, bro, like, it's just you and the boys and you got these extra rooms or whatever. And just a few months later, bro, you're married.
I know.
And the house is perfect for you and your family.
Sometimes it's hard to view it through that lens, man. And I think that's the frustrating thing, is that we lose sight.
Yep.
We lose sight of how we really should view it. So, man, I've been working to the study book that we've been working on, that Kingdom Disciple, Dr. Tony Evans. And, man, the thing I love about that Kingdom Disciple is it's, okay, obviously it's giving you structure through his video and his story, right? And it's kind of telling you, but it's not like you can get that answer wrong. You can't get none of them answers wrong. A lot of them are internal answers. What does this passage say to you? How do you live? How do you live as a disciple through this, right? So that's what I've been doing, man. Like, I've been doing it, and then not only doing it once, but I go back and I revisit it, and I'm like, let me read that one more time. Let me look at that one more time. And it's been a lot of internal work that I've been having to do, because, like, I posted something the other day, and dude, I hate when it, like, I just posted because I was really, really frustrated, right? Like, felt like everything I was doing nothing was panning out right. Nothing's working out. Like, what did I do so bad? Like, was I really that bad before I found you, or before you found me, Jesus? I wasn't, you know what I'm saying? But I just felt like everything was just kind of crumpling down, and I wasn't looking at it through the correct lens, right? I wasn't looking through a grateful, the grateful lens or the gratitude lens. I was looking at it from the worldly lens, right? And I started to realize that's not kingdom minded, right? That's not how he wants us to view it. Another thing is in the time I realized that I needed to be more intimate with him. Right. Intimate in the way I talk to him, and intimate in the way that I hear him tell me back. Right. And the answers he's given me. I was just kind of, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, I'm doing your work. Why is nothing happening? Why is this continuing? Why? Why, right? And that's just it. I mean, that was another thing that that our buddy pointed out yesterday. He's like, and that's something that was actually in the Kingdom Disciple as well. Is he's not gonna love you for the works you do. Yeah, he's gonna love you for the intimacy you have with him. Yeah, right, for the relationship you have with him.
For like the way that you seek him, right?
The way you seek him, right? Seek him first. And man, I really, really started to. It opened my eyes to that. Honestly, man, I've been sleeping like maybe 2-3 hours a night, like in the last week.
Man, we could have been kicking it this whole time, bro.
No, bro, I was no, you're spending just time there with the ceiling, literally.
You're counting sheep, bro.
Dude, I didn't even sheep. Like, I'm just like, all right, it's 1:30. Up, try to go to sleep. It's 2:30. 3:30, like I'm going to sleep like at 4:30 every night, and I'm just like, I'm just frustrated. Yeah. My mind's just racing, right? Yeah. The anxiety, the stress, and a couple of nights I wake up and I go and I start to read, like, why do you still have me up? Like, why is it I can't sleep? What am I not? Why am I not looking at that you want me to look at? And man, last night, the boy got some good sleep last night, bro.
Man, that's so good, bro.
But you know what it was? It was a lot of clarity that came about, right? Yeah. That really, really helped me and the Kingdom Disciple and the conversations with you and the conversations with the other buddy.
Shout out DJ Perez.
Shout out DJ, yeah. Like, I'm like, don't say his name. Allegedly, DJ Perez. Allegedly. But you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm, and even with like, my shepherd, Pastor Hobb, like, I'm just thankful for, I'm thankful for that guidance that you guys give, because that's one thing he started saying. He was like, I was talking about my son and just really, really down about that, man. Like, it really felt like a failure at times, because ultimately he's leaving. He's not leaving with my blessing, right? Yeah. He's going, right? And I'm like, I try to stop it, and I could, do everything I can, but it's not right. He thinks that he's ready. Yeah. So cool, I started to think of that, how much I felt him, and the moments, like, I told you a little story about a time that I just kind of left him there. I knew where he was at. I wasn't too far from him, but just kind of left him there. I didn't hug him when all he wanted to do was be hugged. right? Because he's hurting on both ends, like mom and dad.
Yeah.
Instead, I'm over there drinking and doing whatever else I'm doing, right? You know, not good things, drugs. I don't know what I was doing, but I realized that it's a lot of guilt that I was feeling. But I was, you know, going through emotions, going through them things. I'm starting to realize it. Man, I can't beat myself up over that, because ultimately a lot of the transition in my life was based around him and my other child, right? Yeah. I wanted to change so they can break free from the chains that I was gonna pass down to them, right? Them generational curses or them chains that we pass down. That's why I wanted to change. And regardless if he's leaving, cool. I'm gonna accept it, right? I'm gonna accept it. I'm not gonna let it be a loss that I wasn't able to hug him whenever that's all he wanted. But God's given me another opportunity. One, by waking up every day, and two, by my other kids, right? My other children that are in the house. So, hey, you know, it's just these little things. But like DJ started saying, he was like, man, dude, I got, how many people does he have? 40 people?
Where?
Through his work.
Oh, through the hospice group.
So he's at HR for a hospice, right?
Yeah.
Hospice meaning,
most people are on the way out.
Yeah, you know, you're on the way out.
Yeah.
He was like, dude, I have 40 people who won't be able to hug their kids. You can still hug them. Who won't be able to say, hey, I love you. You can still do that. Right? He put it in a perspective that I was like not looking at it from. Yeah. And I'm like, man, you're right, bro.
Man, you know what's interesting, bro? And this is a little tangent, but it's to encourage you, right?
Yeah.
No, it's to encourage you. Because guys, God can speak a message to you through anything, right? And so there's a little Pixar movie called Elements, right? And so there's like the girl, she's fire, the boyfriend that she likes, or the guy that likes her, or whatever, he's water. And there's people that are like wind and clouds, and you know, all kinds of different things, trees, whatever, right? The dad disapproves of what his daughter wants to do. The dad wants her to take over the store that he created. He tells her this story that when he was leaving his home place, that there's this custom where the family will, like, to offer their blessing, will like bow, right? Give you this like beautiful bow.
This Inside Out one?
No, this is Elements.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah. That's a good movie.
and so when you're talking about like he's leaving, you don't want him to whatever. This is the thing that kind of popped into my head, and it's really funny because it's like, really, out of this child's movie, I'm gonna get an illustration. And so anyway, it hurt the dad so deeply because his father didn't give him the blessing, and so because he didn't approve of him leaving. And so his whole life he's working hard to prove himself, this and that, plans to give something to the daughter decides to go do something different. At the very end of the movie, she's leaving. She's still gonna go toward the direction that he didn't want for her, but as she starts to walk off, and it's funny because I want to get emotional because I'm thinking about what this could mean for you and your son. When she's leaving, she turns around to tell her dad that he loves her, and he does the bow that his father refused to give to him. The bow was the blessing, right? And so I think about that. It's kind of like with what DJ was telling you last night. Like, okay, I know you don't want him to go, but like, hey, you know what? I'm going to set you up for success. We're going to go get your ID or your license. We're going to do this, or we're going to do that. And how much will it mean? How much will it heal? Times past, when you help him press towards something that you don't think is the best idea. Like, will you be the man who, even though you didn't hug him before, you hug him now? Right? Like that before he leaves, you hug him and you say, son, I love you. I believe in you. I'm right here. My door is open. I'm going to do everything that I can to help you. Right? But most importantly, I just know I'm praying for you. Right? Things like that. Like, it's weird to think about because like DJ was saying to you last night, you have an opportunity. And not only do you have opportunity to do things different with Ruben and your other children, but there's a different way that you can approach the things that you do going forward with Avery, and so it's a hard thing.
Yeah, that's the heart of the Father.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Right. Yep. That's one thing is making the choices you make, let them be based on the heart of the Father, kingdom minded. Right. Yeah, that's one thing that I got out of that book, and it was supposed to have been done like, I don't know, a couple months ago.
Yeah.
But you know what? I feel like the information and the like what I'm learning in that was so vital to right now. Right. Yeah. I'm able to put it in life right now when I really, really needed it. God's timing is perfect. Right? His timing is perfect. It's always strategic. It's always right whenever it's supposed to be, because this is where he needed it to be. And like that, man, no, you're absolutely right. You know, it's a tough thing. And I know there's a lot of parents out there who are dealing with their kids deciding to rebel and go do what they feel like is best for them. Yeah. Yeah. And I applaud you. Like, I know as parents, it's one of the hardest things that we ever have. And somebody pointed something out to me the other day, one of my patients, because I work for that hospice group as well. I'm the chaplain. And what do you call it? One of my patients, we were talking about life and how there's a progression. And I was letting them know, very similar conversation, like, yeah, there's some things that I wish this man, the way that I think now, the wisdom that I have now, was the one that would have raised my sons. I was a good dad, but I could have been a great dad, you know. And when I think about that, I'm kind of telling her some stories. I know I didn't handle this well, and I could have done this different, you know. All these different things. I taught this, didn't know I was teaching that. And then there's areas where I also realized that, like, some of the struggles that my sons walk in, I'm the one that it kind of put that in front of them. Well, anyway, long story short, I told her that it was a difficult season when my son started to reach toward my brother instead of me, right? Because he's mine. That's my son. God gave him to me. Yeah. I'm supposed to do all these things. Yeah. I'm supposed to be the one he's looking for. And so I was explaining how it was the most difficult decision that I had to make, was letting God be God, and like, God, I'm trusting you. Just send good counsel around him. Thank you that he's going to my brother. Like that gratitude for God being good. Well, she said, you know, brother, she's like, it sounds like you didn't, as a young dad, you didn't know how to transition as your child was growing. Like, you expected it to always be like this, but your child was maturing and you didn't grow with that. And so it's interesting, because it's like, let's take this to like Old Testament times or whatever, right? Like in America, right? Maybe all over the world, 18 is the time that somebody takes off. But in old times, it was way earlier. You know, like, once somebody was established on a path or a pattern, like, they would go do that, and the parents would be like, okay, go do that. But it's really interesting, because now, like, we can call, we can FaceTime, there's social media, there's technology. Back then, they wouldn't hear from their children for months, if not maybe years. And sometimes there was no assurance that the child was even still alive. And so it's a real interesting thing, because when we look at the way things are done now compared to how they were then, like, now we've labeled like, oh, somebody's not mature until they're 18. And then further, like, they can't do this until they're 21, or their insurance break doesn't come till they're 25. And then science says that people don't mature until they're over some age or whatever, right? So there's these limitations that we put. But and it's funny, because the only reason I'm thinking about that is because I was watching a movie the other day. I was watching Gladiator 2, and I'm sitting here thinking to myself, boom, Gladiator 2. And I'm thinking to myself, like, when that kid is, like, his mom is saying, hey, you have to go, I love you, you'll be safe. She sends the child off. This kid is maybe like, what, 10? Yeah. Right? And there he goes on this horse, and he takes off. And my initial thought was, oh my gosh, that baby's too little to be on that horse, because I'm thinking about my babies, like my sons, my granddaughters, and how they're not equipped or mature enough to handle that horse. But in old times, that child was on a horse at like 4 or 5 years old, learning, right? By 6, they're doing their own thing. 7, 8,
10, 14. By the time a kid was 14 back then, they knew how to work the land, how to survive on their own, all these different things. And so for each and every one of us, when we're thinking about the way that we want our children to go, like, can we find a peace in trusting God with, like, here's what's really interesting. And I'm not saying that this is what it is, but what if the Lord is the one who's calling your son to Dallas?
Yeah.
Right? How do we as parents accept the Lord calling our child to do something that we cannot perceive as the Lord? And I only say that for this reason, right?
It's the worldly view. We're not viewing it from.
Yeah. But here's the point though, right? Is like, we're talking a lot about our children. There's a lot of parents out there who are struggling with this. But what about like your other babies? Your plans, your dreams, your hopes, your expectations, right? Your home. For some people make their home their baby. They do all the stuff to take care of this. Like your finances. There are so many areas in life that we can look at and be like, man, I don't like the way that that's going. I don't like that this is changing in this area. But nonetheless, we have to grow in our wisdom and our understanding. We have to mature as we go to see and handle all these things correctly. And so the hard part for each and every one of us is, how do I see God in the midst of all these changes that I don't want or don't like? What are my declarations? How can I stay in the attitude of gratitude when I don't like what's happening? When I don't approve of the change that is taking place?
Bro, I was ready to go cuss everybody out.
Yeah.
I was like, you this like, and you that. And I was ready, but
like,
I had
who told you to tell my baby that?
I had to step back. And just like you said, I had to trust God, man.
Hey, guys, one day we're going to tell y'all that this episode was brought to you by Whataburger as a corporate sponsor.
Amen.
Right now, the only thing they sponsored was giving me my drink that I paid for.
Yes. Thank you for sponsoring. But anyway,
yeah, thank you. One day, there's going to be great sponsorships for this podcast.
Please.
No, but you were saying that the frustration had you moving.
Man,
but
it had me moving backwards though, bro.
I love what you said to us when we were hanging out the other day. You said, I didn't revert back. I didn't backslide, but I started thinking old ways. Right. And so that's what you're talking about right now.
Yeah, man. I had to step back and look, this a
caseworker,
CPS, we love them. Caseworkers, we love them. Thank you for doing what you do, because I know there's some good they do for some, not for everybody. Nonetheless, it was fed a seed, right? That was given to them, that I'm like,
at this age you can decide what you want to do.
And with him, he took that and he ran with it. I'm like, cool, right? You said something, because in the same sense, he's going to be going on with somebody who I consider my brother, right? He runs a Christian home. Like, he's very, very deep in his word. Like, dude's been trying to tell me about Christ for, I don't know, 15 years, right? He was way ahead of me. And anyway, in my mind, in my heart, I know my son's going to somebody who can push him along to be better, right? Yeah. It's just like what you said, like,
he's mine.
But God said, you got to trust me, right? You got to trust me in whatever the season is, right? So that's where I'm at. I'm trusting him with that. And instead of cussing everybody out the way I wanted to, because I've cussed him out before. He's like my brother, you know what I'm saying? We've got there. We've gone there before. I'm not, you know what I'm saying? I'm just gonna do what I need to do to be supportive. And man, you said something else, man, now's the opportunity where I can give him that hug that he needs. Because that's what he kept saying. Like, he kept telling me, he's like, I hate that you don't believe in me. I'm like, I believe in you. I do believe in you. But I started asking him other things, let me see your ID. Well, I don't have one. Let me see that. Well, I don't have that. Like, this is what I'm trying to tell you. This is what I'm trying to explain to you. But yes, go to the restroom, my little boy. he gets to tell me every time he gets to go to the restroom. Hey, man, but you know what? Not losing sight of the thankfulness. I'm thankful for the opportunity to have wise counsel. I'm thankful for I'm thankful for my wife, man. Sometimes she keeps my head straight, man. And as much as I don't want to give her that credit, because she does, man.
I love that you, in your vulnerability and transparency, she had asked you what was going on, and you're just like, I'm good, you know. And she could tell something was up. She leaves, and then you call her, and you're like, I really need you.
I just need you.
And she came and she fulfilled that partner role, that love, that nurturing, that support, that encouragement.
Bro, she kept turning over. She's like, all right, no more. Because I just kept, dude, I cried, but I'm not even a crybaby. I cried a lot last week. Yeah. Like every time I would turn and look at something, I'm like, like it just, man, just like out of nowhere. But I am thankful to have a partner that, you know, that will hug me and not judge me. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. That will comfort me and not scold me. You know what I'm saying? And like, you know what I'm saying? So I am thankful for that. There's a lot of things I'm thankful for, man. The things that I lost sight of. You know what I'm saying? So what are you thankful for? Yeah. Put it in the comments.
Yeah, get in the comments. Right? Let us know what you're thankful for.
Man, please, you know? Because there's so much that we could be thankful for. Because just like DJ said, you know, I got 40 patients out there who are not going to wake up, not going to have another Thanksgiving, not going to see Christmas, not going to be able to hug their kids, hug their wife, hug their husbands, whatever it be. You know what I'm saying? Be thankful for that small gift, man. Man, it's been a great Thanksgiving. It's going to be a great Thanksgiving. Continuing on, right? As you can tell, hey, look,
Cowboys.
For anybody who ever thought I didn't have, or I had commitment issues, I don't. I've been a Cowboys fan since I was born.
I've been a Cowboys fan since I was 11.
That's right.
No, I grew up in a Cowboys fan family. Yeah. But I kind of was like, yeah, whatever, y'all do what you want. And this what's really funny is when I first started watching football, like for myself, my team. I was always like a player. I was based on players, right? And so of course at that time, Joe Montana was close to the end of his career, but he was still with San Francisco. So and so I'm just kind of like, man, that dude's awesome.
That dude is awesome.
I was like, man, it's a great quarterback right there. And then of course, you know, like I went from when he left the 49ers, I wasn't a 49er fan. I was a Joe Montana fan. Yeah. Right. And then he left them. And then around that same time, John Elway was playing. Oh, yeah. And I had heard some cool stories that he had such a strong arm that he could like stand at home plate and play baseball and throw it.
Had a cannon, bro.
Yeah, throw it way out there, throw it like outside of the you know, like if somebody had hit home run. And then I remember hearing that he would throw the ball so hard that if the receivers didn't catch it in front of them, if it hit them, it would leave them marks from the ball, right? And so I'm like, man, that guy's awesome. So then I liked him, right? And so I was a Broncos fan for a while because of John Elway. Well, then during that time, like, of course, I'm like 11 years old, and then waiting for Brother John to come pick me up, getting dropped off for going to church with a guy named Brother James actually would pick us up. What do you call it? I'm like chilling at home. My mom's at work, and I'm like, I really like Troy Aikman. Right? And then, of course, during that time, they got Michael Irving, and they got Emmitt Smith. They got Charles Haley and the defense, man. Woodson. You know what I'm talking about? The 91 through the 95
Alvin
era.
Harper. Remember
Alvin Harper, like all these guys. And so I'm sitting there watching that, and I'm like, oh, I like these guys. Yeah. Right. And it's really funny because the year that I decided to be a Cowboy fan, they went 1-15 or something like that. They only won one game. And so I was like, that's when I knew. I was just like, so you know, guys, I've been in a relationship with the Cowboys.
It's a very toxic
since 1-15.
They keep telling me it's already.
Hey, you know what though? I'm grateful that we get to watch them play. Yeah. Right. Yeah. You know, like thank God for the things that help us unwind, bro. Yeah. As much as we can be like, the Cowboys, like, you know, there's times that we have a great time watching them. You know, so thank God that there's entertainment that helps me. Thank God that I got some good friends I can watch the game with. Thank God that creates an environment for me to like break bread, to fellowship, to laugh, and to joke around with my friends. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, so if we're in the attitude of gratitude, you know, and this is something I was telling DJ the other day. I was like, you know what's so interesting, bro? Like, I don't really watch football as much as I used to.
Yeah.
You know, and it's not because I'm always at church. It's because my priorities have shifted. But I realized something the other day. When like my life's experiences, it's not about what I'm doing, it's who I'm doing it with. Mm-hmm. And so when I'm sitting here and I'm thinking to myself like, man, when I'm not watching the Cowboys game, it's because I'm doing something with something else with the people that I love. Yeah. Right. And yeah, sometimes we're serving at church, but other times it's like I'm prioritizing my relationships over sitting there. And the only reason being though is because the group of people I hang out with now, like we're not really chill and watch football kind of people. Yeah. And so there's that. But I realized how much I value relationship over the thing that we're supposed to be doing or that we could be doing.
Man, I used to get so upset when I would miss the game, like for real. Mm-hmm. And me now, too, like bro. Honestly, like, you know, I've been accused of you're just mad because you're not watching the game. I'm really not. Like, we suck. We suck this year.
I'll go back and watch the highlights.
I'm gonna watch the highlights. It's the only thing I can live for right now. but you know what? It still doesn't change. And you're absolutely right, man. Yeah. Yeah, same thing. Like my priorities have changed. This time of the year would have meant that I was thankful for my numbers, whether they were good or bad.
Oh, the squares?
The squares.
Divide the squares.
Yeah, it's not no more, man.
Man, bro, real quick little side note. I got 2 friends, bro, that every time I see them, they win on the squares. Like, I don't know how often they win on the squares, but every time I'm around, bro, they win a couple quarters. And I'm just kind of like, man, you guys are super lucky. Like, shake my hand.
Yeah, just some of that.
Rub some of that off on me, right?
Yeah, I'm telling you. But yeah, so if you got squares, hey man, we're hoping it turns out good for you. Yeah.
Wait, so at this time you'd be grateful for the squares turning out the right way for you.
Yep. Nah, I'm not no more, man. Yeah. I'm grateful that I got brothers and sisters and family, you know, who love me, man. That's what I'm grateful for, man. That's one of the biggest blessings in life is that, right? Friends, family, you know, people that you can do life with, not seclude yourself, not be alone. Like I've been secluded for the last couple of weeks. Just, I mean, my wife's been there, of course, my wife, but like I really have. Like even this year, you were like, hey, come on, I didn't know none of this is going on because I've been secluding myself, bro. Like failure really had me down, bro. Like it really, really did. But I just knew I couldn't stay there. You know, it's. Sometimes we get there and we go there, but we just can't stay there. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So to anybody out there, if you're alone right now, don't do it.
Yeah.
Call somebody.
Find somebody that literally you can lean into. Yeah. Hey guys, I want to give you a bit of encouragement before we get out of here. Okay. Because obviously I pray this whole message has been encouraging because we're inviting you to participate with God's promise. He has plenty of reasons for us to be grateful. One of the things that we can be grateful for, and this is what shifts the way that we see things, is the word that He speaks to us. Right?
Excuse me, the turkey got me yawning.
The word has power, and it can change. Yeah, like everything, our perspectives. Right? The first thing that God begins to change is the heart of a person. Mm-hmm. Their thoughts. He starts lining their thoughts up with his word. And so I'm grateful that we serve a God that has given us so many promises that we actually can cling to. Like, I might not see this thing come to pass right now, today, at this minute, but I know that He's faithful. So this is still going to happen. So thank God for words and declarations of His promise to us that give us hope and bring a renewal to strength. So I want you to just briefly go to Isaiah chapter 41.
Come on.
Right?
41.
We're going to read a little bit of this, but it's so that, actually we're going to read 1 through 11. How about that? Actually 1 through 12, 1 through,
I think you're right.
1 through 13. Right? And this is what it says. Listen in silence before me, you lands beyond the sea. Bring your strongest arguments. Come now and speak. The court is ready for your case. Who has stirred up the king from the east, rightly calling him to God's service? Who gives this man victory over many nations and permits him to trample their kings underfoot? With his sword, he reduces armies to dust. With his bow, he scatters them like chaff before the wind. He chases them away and goes on safely though he is walking over unfamiliar ground. Who has done such mighty deeds, summoning each new generation from the beginning of time? It is I, the Lord, the first and the last. I alone am He. The lands beyond the sea watch in fear. Remote lands tremble and mobilize for war. The idol makers encourage one another, saying to each other, "Be strong." The carver encourages the goldsmith, and the molder helps at the anvil. Good, they say, it's coming along fine. Carefully they join the parts together, then fasten the thing in place so it won't fall over. But as for you, Israel, my servant, Jacob, my chosen one, descended from Abraham, my friend, I have called you back from the ends of the earth, saying, you are my servant. I have chosen you, for I have chosen you and will not throw you away. Pay attention to this last part. Do not be afraid, for I am with you. Do not be discouraged, for I am your God. I will strengthen you and help you. I will hold you up with my victorious right hand. See, all your angry enemies lie there, confused and humiliated. Anyone who opposes you will die and come to nothing. You will look in vain for those who tried to conquer you. Those who attack you, those who attack you will come to nothing. For I hold you by your right hand. I, the Lord your God, and I say to you, don't be afraid. I am here to help you. I want you to think about those promises, right? The very beginning tells you about all the things that everybody else is leaning into. Mm-hmm. The way that the world goes, the things that they think they need to be doing, the way that we craft and mold things in our minds, physically, the way that we work through with our hands and the things that we think we should be doing, the idols that are set up in our lives. And then he comes and says, I'm the one who's going to help you. Mm-hmm. I'm the one who has called you back to himself. And so I want you to think about that just briefly, guys, how God just in this moment right now has given promises and declarations to you that he's going to help you. He's going to strengthen you. When I read that last verse in 13 where he says, I hold you by your right hand, I thought to myself, my dad, right? My Father in heaven is walking with me through all the things of my life. He's telling me the truth about everything. Yeah. He's the one who's letting me know how I should look at this. He's the one who's going to remind me through the help that he gives why I have plenty reasons to be grateful. Right? And what's beautiful is that as I make these declarations of gratitude, what I will see because of the promise is his victories in my life. Yeah. Right? No matter what we're talking about today, guys, no matter what you're going through, no matter how we feel or what we're experiencing, God's promise is to walk with you through those things. He loves you. He won't throw you away. He's going to help you. He's going to strengthen you. You will see his victory in your life. Amen. And so I want you to start this, like the rest of your day after hearing this message, and then hopefully tomorrow and every day after that. Okay, God, remind me of what I'm grateful for today. Mm-hmm. Help me see things the way that you do, because right now when I'm looking at it through my eyes and through my perspective, it doesn't feel too good. Yeah,
I know I had to do that. I had to do that constantly as words of encouragement to myself. Right? Yep. You're blessed. Look at you. Look at your little boy. Look at your daughter. Look at your wife. Look at your, you know what I'm saying. Look at your sons. Look at, you know what I'm saying. Like I start to just say all these things out loud, because just like we talked about before on pod, the lobe that houses anxiety and stress also houses gratitude. Yep. Which one are you going to allow to live there?
Oh yeah, the place in the brain. Yeah. Right, where anxiety is comes from is the same place that gratitude, like a gratefulness comes from. Yeah. So when you're experiencing gratitude, your brain cannot do gratitude and anxiety at the same time. So
they can't live together.
So for each and every one of us, it's like, will we let God do what He said He can do? Mm-hmm. If He produces a heart of gratitude. Today's Thanksgiving. What are we thankful for? How often do we think about the way the Word instructs us? When you go before the Lord, offer thanksgiving, right? And so when we're thinking about this, like, take your prayer and your supplication. Talk to God about the things that are going on in your life, the things that you need. But in the prayer with how grateful you are, how thankful you are, thanking God that His promises are true, thanking God that He's going to have victory in your life, that you're going to see the goodness of God today. And so when we do that, bro, like everything shifts around us.
Can I share a psalm or a verse that came up while I was having to look, having to look internally? It was Psalm 100, 1-5, man. Just read it real quick. Just real quick. Do it. Make a joyful. I'm reading out of New King James Version. Excuse me, NKJV. Make a joyful shout to the Lord, all you. Make a joyful shout to the Lord, all you lands. Serve the Lord with gladness. Come before His presence with singing. Now that the Lord, He is God, it is He who has made us, and not we ourselves. We are His people, the sheep of His pasture. Enter into His gates with thanksgiving and into His courts with praise. Be thankful to Him and bless His name. For the Lord is good, His mercy is everlasting, and His truth endures to all nations, to all generations. Excuse me. That word generations means something to me, man. When I went to a conference through AG, Assemblies of God, I went to an AG conference, here with the church, and I kept asking God. I'm cradle Catholic. All my family is Catholic, right? Yeah. Never has there been a preacher or a pastor in my family, like my family, at least that I know of, because we've been Catholic since far as back as I can go, right? Well, I knew it's going to start with me, right? And then God started to tell me generations and generations and generations and generations. He kept giving me that word generations because I had a lot of stress and anxiety that I don't know what I was going through at that time in my life. Like, this is a few months back. It's like summertime. Like, I had just anxiety that I was going to be losing one of my children, right? And but then He started telling me, no, you ain't gonna lose them. They're gonna carry. This is going to carry on for generations through you and your children. It's going to carry on. He just kept confirming that to me, man. So when I see the word generations, and whenever the scripture ends with that, His truth endures to all generations, it gives me hope to know just to continue going, man. To continue fighting, to be good, to live righteous, to do what He's asking me to do. You know what I'm saying? Trust in Him in everything. And everything. So sorry, just a little tangent real quick.
No, that's good.
When I was reading, this is what's been getting me through of being thankful, because you're right. What if God is calling my oldest to the DFW area? If He's calling him there, then I got to trust God, and He knows what He's doing. You know what I'm saying? As much as it hurts. I had mentioned that. So last week we had a little issue with the pods. I know some of you guys caught about 5 minutes of it. We're working on it. It was some great conversation. Nonetheless, we'll revisit that conversation.
Talk about the wilderness.
Talking about the wilderness. But one thing I ended with was that I text Pastor Javier. That's one thing that ends on that particular pod from last week was when I text Pastor Javier, I'm like, dude, why does he keep breaking my heart? And he just sends me back a question mark, like, what? I'm not breaking your heart, bro. But God, like, He's not breaking my heart. He's breaking me for breakthrough, man. You know what I'm saying? He's breaking me to reshape me and how He needs me to be. So I'm thankful for that. Amen. I'm thankful for the hard times, bro. Because I know the hard times are going to shape me to be better. It's going to build character, man.
The hard times are going to be some of your greatest testimonies.
Oh, man. Come on.
You know what I'm saying? So, guys, think about that. Think about that. Like all the stuff that we talked about today. There's plenty of reason for you to be grateful. It's funny because the scripture actually tells us in all things, in all times, like, have a attitude of like a thankful attitude. Like, how am I supposed to thank God for the pressure that I feel, or for the struggles that I'm going through? How am I supposed to have that? Well, there's an answer, for each and every one of us, is that God is building something up. He's taking care of something very, very specific, so that later when your testimony comes out and you're sharing the hardest time that you've been facing, that it glorifies the Lord. And so when we think about these things, man, like, what is God doing? And how can we find peace in trusting and moving in the direction that God is telling us to move in not only in our physical body, but in our heart and our mind, our spirit, right? Everything that agrees with God has ties to his power and his provision. And so when we think about this, man, it's a very simple way of looking at it. Is if I feel overwhelmed right now, let me remind myself of why I'm grateful. I say that for this reason also, as kind of a little wrap-up point for us. I remember, and I've shared this before, but I think it's super appropriate right now. I took an out-of-town trip, and I came home, and I took the trip because I was really overwhelmed by a lot of different things that were going on. There was a lot of unknowns in my life at that time, and so I'm just like laying on my couch. My sister had decided to house my room in the back, so I'm like asleep in the living room, surrounded by all my stuff that's usually in my bedroom. And I had some printing equipment back there already because I'd started my business. And so anyway, the point being is I'm just there, and it feels like chaos in my living room, right? And I'm just like laying on the couch, and I'm just sitting there, and I'm like, man, I started talking to God. It's like, man, God, I don't even know how to feel right now. I don't know what to think. Like, this is what all these things look like. Like, I'm so frustrated right now, God. I don't even know. That was my whole rant. I don't know.
I don't.
And then with clarity, I said, you know what, God? But the one thing I know is that you do love me. So help me rest, because that's what I need right now. Give me rest. And the whole time I say that in like a matter of 15 seconds. Like, I don't know. But it was like 30, 45 minutes of me talking to God about my frustrations and how I don't know how to handle this. I don't know what direction I'm going. I don't even know what you want from me right now, blah, blah, blah. So there's a whole bunch of like frustration, I don't know. And I say that for this reason. A while ago, you said that you haven't been able to sleep very much. And then after the conversation, God is bringing you clarity. He's reminding you of how favored you are. He's reminding you of how blessed you are. He's reminding you of all the reasons that you have to be grateful for. And then you said, man, I went home last night and I just went to sleep. I slept like a baby.
Scratch, yeah.
Yeah. And that's what I want to tell you all from what he shared earlier, and then from this testimony that I just gave you right now. It's okay if there's a lot of unknowns. It's okay if there's a lot of frustrations. Remind yourself of what is true. Jesus loves you, right? He has a plan. He has purpose. He can qualify suffering. He can teach you lessons. He can use everything that the enemy means for evil and turn it for good. That is the God that we serve. What are you grateful for? Remind yourself about what you're grateful for, and I promise you, it'll shift how you feel at that very moment. And this is what's so wonderful, is that there's relationships generational relationships that are around you, that when they start watching whoever you are to them, whether you're dad, grandma, grandpa, uncle, friend, brother, doesn't matter, right? Father, as they watch you walk in this season of gratitude, when it seems like you shouldn't be grateful, the next generation now is being equipped with the right answer to praise God no matter what, because he is faithful. The overall arching statement for us, what are you grateful for? I'm grateful that God is good, that he loves me, and that he has a plan.
For the Lord is good, his mercy is everlasting, his truth endures to all generations.
There it is, right there. So you be an encouragement.
Yes.
We love you guys. Thank you for joining us today. It's going to be a beautiful day for each and every one of us. We definitely have plenty of reasons to be thankful. Remind yourself of how good God is and watch him work.
Hey, and if you hit your squares and you feel like blessing the Cash App, man, we're not going to say no. It's for him anyway.
Yeah.